In the Orthodox Church, we often struggle to sum up the faith because it is complicated. It is deep. It is full of information. And sometimes we hear what can almost be funny summaries. When I was in the seminary, we took a class in social ethics. So the intent would be to discuss how an Orthodox Christian is supposed to live in the world. At least this was how the professor took it. The question of, it wasn't bioethics, but social ethics, the questions of Christians living in the world. And the professor must have been having a busy semester, because the first day of the class, he said to us, the Orthodox Christian ethic of life is summed up in the life of the monastics. So this is all we have to do. We have to look at how the monks live, and then we just understand that this is the Orthodox social ethic. And then he spent the rest of the 13, 14, 15, however many weeks of the semester talking about whatever he wanted to talk about, because he had covered the Orthodox social ethic. This is supposed to be funny. I thought it was funny. The point is, we know that this is true. We know that the life we are to live is exemplified for us by the monastics. And today we have the example of St. Mary of Egypt highlighted for us so that we can see what a monastic life looks like. The problem is, when we look at St. Mary of Egypt, when we look at any monastic, and we try to take a lesson from their way of life for our way of life, it becomes very difficult to find anything that seems realistic. This is not to excuse us from making the effort. It is our responsibility, if what my professor said is true, to find a way to bring into harmony what seems to be separate, to find a way to live the life that the monastics exemplify for us, even as we continue to live as married people, working people in the world. What I would submit today, what I would offer for us to reflect on, is that the monastic ethic of life is simple, although it seems complicated in all the details. And if we would imitate the monastics, then we must simply do as they do and make Christ first in our lives. Wherever we are, however we live, whatever we do, whatever our relationships, if we place Christ and His love and His presence as the first priority of our life, then we will find everything else falling into place. Not immediately, not easily, but we will find that it is so. And if we seek to find the joy that the Lord promises to those who follow Him, then it is only reasonable that we should have to, follow Him. Again, I'm going for a laugh and I don't get any laughs. I must not have a funny face. This is especially worth mentioning because I read a statistic recently that spoke of how, while the United States is noted as a religious country, in a broad sense, people who say they believe in God are very much a majority, if you believe the statistics. But if you start to ask individuals, where is your identity as a Christian compared to other identities? Is it your primary identity, or is it secondary or third? Do you identify first as a lawyer, or as a doctor, or as a teacher, then as a husband or a wife, a father and a mother, then perhaps as a Greek, or maybe to be a Greek is first in the priority list? The point is, it is difficult to make that identity as a Christian be the primary thing in our lives. But if we would understand what it means to live as Christians, if we would receive the blessings and the joy of Christ, then we must place Christ first. And even to begin to think on what this would look like in our life is a good first step. So here we stand at the end of the Lenten fast, more or less, 1 week left, then Holy Week, almost done. We're almost done. The opportunities of the fast, of the additional services, are almost ended. We are almost back to the normal time of year. Let us reflect, holding the standard of the saints who lived Christ in all things before our eyes. Let us look to ourselves. Have we grown? Have we advanced? Have we come to see Christ more clearly? If the answer is yes, then may the grace we have received sustain us for the final stretch of the race set before us. And if the answer is no, we have 2 weeks. May the Lord give us strength and understanding and insight into our own life and our own heart, so that we may imitate all those who have come before us and seek Christ and His kingdom first, with the assurance that truly all these things that we might otherwise worry about will be added to us as well. May God give you strength and joy as we conclude the Lenten fast and run with eagerness to the resurrection. Amen.